Well, we're really learning to follow a chart, a piece of music, the whole way through and play an entire piece of music. This one's only probably about 2 minutes long, something of that order, but we've got to follow it the whole way through and draw on all the skills we've learned in the previous 9 guitar lessons to play this piece of music. So we're going to be playing our open chords, we're going to be playing overdriven power chords, palm muted, accents, everything we've done, and reading the chart and the rhythms involved. That's whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, and eighth notes.
It's a lot all in one thing,
It's a lot of stuff, but it's exactly the type of thing you'd maybe get to read on a gig or in a recording session.
And if we do this well, we could essentially have our grade 1 in guitars.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Get grade 1 by getting this piece of music together.
All right, what do we do first? What do we need to do first?
Okay, what I'd like to look at first of all is the arrangement on the page. If we look at any piece of music, what you will normally have is the title of the piece written at the top in the centre.
Here we have The First Time.
The First Time is the name of this piece, and on the right hand side you'll have the composer's name.
Brian Green.
Brian Green.
I've heard of him.
Yes.
And arranged by David Young.
Arranged by my good self.
What does it mean when you arrange music?
Well, one person may write the song and they've got an idea how they want it to go, but an arranger may just change it around a little bit. You know,
so you're a rearranger?
Rearranger, if you like, yeah, exactly. So I've arranged it for guitar, that's really what it means. I've converted it into a guitar playing piece of music. So if we look at the music then, it's verse 1 right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And underneath verse 1 we have a clean guitar sound written. Ah,
I remember this from our intro lesson.
Yes, way back then. Because we were talking about having a clean guitar sound, which is the type of thing we studied when we played our open chords of G, E minor, those types of chords. But when we played our power chords like G5, A5, C5 and D5, we'd earn an overdriven, distorted guitar sound, which we will use later in the piece. But the guitarist really needs to know, well, what kind of sound does the composer want me to play on, that type of thing. So it's been very helpful in written down clean guitar sound to begin. So I've got a clean guitar sound here. And what we can see is that verse 1 lasts for 6 bars.
Yeah.
The 6 bars are numbered there. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
5, 6, yeah.
And then we've got a repeat sign, which is 2 black lines with 2 dots.
Oh, right, I see it there, yeah.
And that means we head back to the facing repeat sign. In this particular instance, we repeat that one line. But on another piece of music, the repeat sign may be several lines down, and you go back to where the repeat sign is pointing back towards itself. So
when you're reading along it, we'd have noticed, obviously, at the beginning that we've got this repeat sign.
Yes.
So we'd be looking for the end point.
Yeah, you look ahead. Normally when you're given the chart, it's a good idea to have a look through, see what's coming up, see if there's any surprises, anything that might catch you out, and maybe even mark it up in pencil. Certainly repeat marks, make sure you mark them, and make sure you know where you're going back to. That's ever so important.
Cool. Okay, so we've got that.
We've got this, but this is verse 1. Which is a 6-bar phrase, as we call it. It's a phrase that lasts for 6 bars.
Yes.
And we've got some open chords in there. We've got C, F, G, and A minor. Those are the 4 chords we're going to use. Now, if you look at those 6 bars, you'll see that we have a bar of C,
yes,
followed by a bar of F and G. That's half notes in bar 2.
Yeah.
We've then got another bar of C on a whole note, same as bar 1, and then we've got F and G again in bar 4. So actually, the first 4 bars are the first 2 bars played twice, in effect. There's a slight change at bar 5 where we've got A minor.
Same rhythm though, isn't it?
Same rhythm, exactly the same whole note, and then another bar of half notes featuring F and G. So every other bar is F and G on half notes. So try and bag it up as quickly as possible and see, actually I can see what's going on here. Rather than worrying about every single little note and every single chord and seeing, oh my goodness, there's an awful lot of information. You have to try and bag it up as quickly as possible and go, okay, this is a verse, and the verse works like this, and then play it through.
Make it simple.
Make it as simple as you possibly can. Okay, so if I just look at verse 1, I'll just play that through for you. As I say, we've got a whole note in bar 1 of C.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, then F, 2, G, 2, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, G, 2, A minor, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, G, repeat, C, 1, 3,
straight back to the
4,
beginning.
1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, G, A minor, 2, 3, 4, then we have our F and our G again. So we go around that twice.
Okay, what happens then when we come to that repeat sign again?
The repeat only means 1 repeat.
Right.
Unless it says differently. It may have ×3 written above it or ×4, and that's how many times you play the line.
Otherwise you could get stuck in a
Otherwise
very
you're stuck
nasty
there
loop.
forever. 25 minutes later you're still on those 6 bars.
Got to go back to the beginning.
At least
no.
you'll be able to play them. So you've got those 6 bars at the beginning, but the repeat mark means 1 repeat only unless it states otherwise.
Okay.
Okay. If we then move down into bar 13, because we've had 6 bars repeated, so that's 12 bars.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, because back at the beginning there, in the first bar, it's got bar 1 there, but in brackets bar 7, because that's our repeats. That's
and
7,
at bar 6
8,
we've got a 12
9,
in brackets.
10, 11, 12. Got you. So that is therefore 13.
The chorus actually begins at 13. Now, interestingly enough, underneath this it says distorted guitar sound.
Distorted guitar sound.
Now, we have to be able to deal with this if we're recording and playing gigs particularly. And the reason is that you can't really turn around and manually with your hands reset your amplifier.
I was going to say, do you have someone else doing it for you?
Well, very famous people sometimes do.
Do they?
But I haven't.
Oh.
So what I've got to rely on is my foot pedal, which I've got here. Now, most amplifiers will come with a pedal, which attaches to the amplifier, which will split or switch between our 2 channels. We spoke way back in lesson 1, I think it might have been, about how we split the amplifier. We've got 2 channels in an amplifier, one we set clean and one we set overdriven. Clip in the foot pedal and switch it. That's really the only way you can go from one to the other fast enough.
Yeah.
You can either buy a pedal which has sounds in it and you program those sounds in your pedal and just use the amplifier as a speaker and switch between them on the pedal, or you get a pedal that comes with the amplifier which will split the channels for you.
Okay.
So if I play my clean sound, if I then click on the button, I've got my overdriven sound, clean sound, overdriven sound, so immediately I can just swap from one to the other.
Okay, so do you set your settings on here, on this, on
That's
the
exactly
amp?
what you do. You have the individual channels set exactly how you want them, with the right amount of bass, treble and volume, and then set the overdrive channel with the correct volume and sound that you want as well.
Okay.
So at bar 13 we've got the chorus, which is a distorted guitar sound, and as we can see it's all 8th notes. Now we've got 8 bars from chorus 1, which run through, as I say, with 8th notes, except bar 16, where we've got quarter notes and more 8th notes with accents written above them.
Ah, now these have been put on for us. Okay.
Yes. Now, again, we're assuming that the 8th notes at bar 13, 14, 15 are palm muted. Now, again, that's the type of instruction that won't necessarily be written on a chart, but as a guitarist, your experience will tell you it's the right type of sound.
Yes.
Okay, so you play it the way you hear it. You might decide it shouldn't be palm muted, and you want some accents, or you want to unmute it completely.
That's your decision.
But in this case, I'm going to decide that that really wants to sound palm muted.
And with this, with the 8th notes, obviously the up and down strokes, the up strokes on the and.
No.
Oh.
We only play upstrokes on clean chords when we're strumming a rhythm. But on the distorted power chords, I'm very glad you brought that up, because that's a common mistake. On the power chords, they're all downstrokes.
Really?
All downstrokes. Or certainly the stuff we've run through up until this point is all downstrokes, even 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 8 bars. And the next thing I'd like to look at there is that we then come to verse 2 at bar 21. The reason I raise that is because if we look through the whole chart, we can see that it's actually divided up into verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2 and verse 3. In other words, it goes verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse. So if you divide the chart up in that way, you go, actually, there's only 2 different sections really, verses and choruses. Which one am I on at any one moment in time? And the opening verse are played on a clean sound. So it's not so bad when you bag it up that way. It doesn't seem like 2 pages of lots of information. When you get around to the second chorus, you go, actually, I've played this before. This was the same as the first chorus. So that's the type of thing you need to see, and bag the sound up as easily as you possibly can.
So the chorus will always be the same, where it says chorus 1, chorus 2?
There might be changes written in for the guitar playing, possibly, but probably not. But structurally, chorus-wise, it'll be the same. Chances are it will be the same.
And the verse, it's almost like a poem, isn't it? Like a limerick.
Or like a song. You hear a verse, the second verse has got different words or lyrics, but musically it's the same. And then the chorus is the chorus. We recognise it every time we hear it. Okay? So, coming back to chorus number 1, at bar 13, we've got power chords, distorted chords, written on an A5, which I'm going to palm mute. So I'll play these as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Just put on my distorted sound there with my foot pedal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bar 16 is a bit more tricky. We've got 2 quarter notes and 4 8th notes. So the rhythm is...